And today's question is, what wakes you up in the morning? I'm pretty bad. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Josh Jones, and today's topic is the impact of social media on self-esteem. It almost seems like in today's world, we live in a world where people's self-esteem is either super high or super low, and there's not like enough people that are in the middle of it. I mean, we all know where you meet a girl in particular where she seems like a normal person, and then she shows you her social media account, and it's like she has 100K to a million followers, and that's what feeds her ego. And maybe 10 years ago, she wouldn't have necessarily act like that. And it seems like girls actually get way more attention on social media than men. And I believe that there's actually a skew of like women where nowadays there's a whole bunch of women who have ridiculously high self-esteem that's just backed off the social media, which is not real self-esteem, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But for us the men, you have some people who have followers. I mean, you have people who are buying followers and using that to walk around, stroke their egos. But someone who's buying followers, typically they might act like they have high self-esteem, but they're really living with the imposter syndrome, which is something that is very, very hard to deal with. I think social media is actually going to affect the newer generations a lot more due to the fact that people from my generation, we lived in two worlds, where we lived in a world where there were no social media, and we lived in a world where there was social media. See, the internet came out when I was relatively young, and it was this new thing. It was super cool. But I remember when social media came out, it was new, cool, fun. And at the time, no one understood like the long term, the side effects that it'll have. Nowadays, you have people who literally are deleting social media apps off of their phone because they know it's messing up their self-esteem, and they're just trying to clear their mind from all like the negativity and the comparisons that they have of each other. If you stroll on Instagram for too long, you would see people are posting the best versions of themselves, the best experiences, the good things. So if you're on a site like Instagram, and you're constantly scrolling and you're seeing, everyone making all this money, traveling, living their best life, you'll think like, okay, I'm not doing something wrong. When the fact of the matter is 90%, I don't know that number, but majority of the people who are on social media, they're not that happy. I know people who have lots of followers who have the worst self-esteem, like the lowest self-esteem that you can have. But when we're in a crowd full of people, they have to put on this facade to make them appear a certain type of way to other people. Social media has changed to where you would walk around and you would interact with the people that you could see, right? Now you have social media where you're getting followers and you're getting liked and comment, and you're engaging with people from around the world. So back in like the early 90s, in order to get famous, you would have to be on TV, a movie star, an entertainer, a comedian, a rapper. I mean, there were different types of industries that you would have to do, or even rich guys were on TV a lot. Doctors, they were on TV a lot. Nowadays, people who've never ever been on TV a day in their life, and they get a bunch of followers, and they think they're famous. Or some cases, I remember at the beginning of the internet phase where you had websites. They're not as big anymore, but there were websites like WorldStar, for example. And I met a girl who was in someone's music video that got posted on WorldStar, and she told me she was famous. She didn't have that many followers, maybe like 2,000 followers, and I'm like, well, who are you? She showed me the video, and then the video didn't even have that many followers, but in her brain, she thought she was famous because she had got posted on a website. But she was with me, and we were like walking around, and not one person recognized her. But in her head, she thought she was famous. So I think those are, I mean, it's good and it's bad. I mean, social media is not all bad. Obviously you're able to connect with people, meet people, possibly meet a tribe of people who you would have normally have never met, based off of where you live. And in some incidents where social media could actually help boost someone's self-esteem, in a positive way. But it seems like more of the times not so. Like more times when we're seeing people, it's actually affecting them in a much negative light. I think one of the problems, well, there's three problems that I'm seeing with social media. One, you're on there. It's like a comparison. You see your followers, your likes, and you see everyone else is around you. Two, a lot of people are lying on social media. They're only posting the good, and they're lying about the bad. And then three, a lot of people on social media are just giving out opinions, and they're not even like credited. They're not doctors, they're not lawyers. Like nowadays, social media has given everyone a platform to make an opinion, and there's no like backing up. You don't have to support this with facts or anything. It's just your opinion, and it is what it is. People comparing themselves on social media, it's just a normal thing. You walk out into the streets, you're looking at people, you're seeing other people's cars, you go out to dinner, you might glance to see what someone's ordered. You're in a mall or a shopping environment, and you're seeing other people, the purchases that they're making. It happens all the time, but I think with social media, it's a 24/7 thing. It's like you wake up and you feel like I have this amount of followers. You go to sleep and you feel like I have this amount of followers. It's like, and then in some cases, social media is almost like social currency. You can get accepted into certain groups based off of how much followers you have. Girls won't date you based off of how many followers you have. So unfortunately, it is almost become like a social currency. I own a business. I make a lot of people who apply from my business show me their Instagrams, and I kind of use that as like a resume. I need to see I need to see a little bit more about you. Like, what are you about? What are you doing? What is your purpose of actually being here? Social media is actually giving us a place for that to happen. Now, also, if I go do something bad, or if I lose money, or if I do something stupid, I'm not the type to tell the whole entire world, oh, this is what happened, right? Some people do that. Some people like the attention that comes from that. Me, I'm just not one of those people. And most people aren't. Most people are what we call flexing. They're trying to just post the good. I remember at the beginning when people were taking like other people's money, taking pictures of it and posting it on Facebook, for the world to see it. And then if you didn't know that person, or maybe you knew that person but you wasn't real close with that person, you have this image of this person flashing all of this money. And then when you see him, you might even think like, okay, this guy's rich because, the image that you have of him is flashing money. Those are the things. And then people who are actually watching that, it might actually hurt them because like, yo, he has a lot more money. What did he do to get that? What am I doing wrong that doesn't allow me to have that? The third thing is, social media, anyone can just give you an opinion. Like you could be at your home, and whether it's someone you know or someone you don't know, can comment something positive or something negative underneath one of your pictures. Now, I know for a fact it irks me. Like I'll post something, and it's worse when it's from someone that you know, and they post something negative about you. It's like, why are you on my page right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you even talking to me? That is a very, very annoying thing. And people say like, oh, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words would never hurt me. They lie. Words hurt people all the time. Even the most established persons, successful men get broken down due to people's opinions. So, I think people just need to be more mindful of it. You should be more mindful of, what you're telling people, because you don't know exactly how someone will affect it. One of the problems that I deal with now is that I am a business owner. I'm starting to slowly learn how much more powerful my words are now compared to what they were 5 years ago. Some people can't handle me saying something negative to them, even though they can say negative stuff to me all the time. Like they'll say like 5 negative things to me. If I say one negative thing back, oh, it's a problem. So I think that kind of stuff is crazy. Another topic, we were talking about women with, having a lot of followers and it making them feel, overly confident about themselves. But on the other side, men don't really get that type of attention on social media, and I think it's actually having the negative effect on them. I think we're producing more depressed, low self-esteem men now than we've ever had before in the past. And I don't know if it's going to get worse or if it's going to get better. But I know as of right now, men are probably suffering the most because of social media. Well, and it's not fair to say the most, because there's a lot of girls out there that probably don't have a lot of followers. They're constantly watching, these girls do sexual things, and they're getting flown out to different countries and bragging about, oh, this man bought me this purse, or this man bought me this car. And it happens, but I think men more so on a whole get affected because they're not getting that validation on social media. They're not getting that validation from overly confident women out there in the world. And I think it's causing them to suffer as well. And it's bad. Now here going in, 21st century, we are, 2024? We live in a world now where there's kids that are 18 years old that have been on social media their whole entire life. Social media was created before they were even born. So the only world that they know is social media, and to tell them, a world without it is like crazy talk to them. Like, yo, I can't. But like, this is all they know. This is the only world that this is the only way that they know how to operate, is in a world with social media. And it's good and it's bad. No, don't get me wrong. Social media is not all bad. I mean, yes, it's affecting people's confidence, whether it's in a good way or a bad way, but it's leveled the playing field. We had gatekeepers back in the day, and thanks to the internet, there's no more gatekeepers in any industry. Well, there's still gatekeepers in industries, but it's not like how it used to be. Like, you couldn't be a musician unless you linked up with one of the major radio stations. You couldn't be a movie star unless you got picked on by one of the major studios. Nowadays, anyone can create, share. I can create this podcast and share it on social media and watch all the views and all the comments and all the engagement that I get from it. And sometimes it amplifies my ego. Sometimes I look at some of these comments you guys are saying and it kind of irks me, like, what did I do to you? You know what I'm saying? So, it's nothing to dwell on, nothing to cry about, but just something to think about. And as I move forward, I know I just have to get more used to it. I've seen the effects of social media, how it's just expanded our, people are super confident, people are super low. But now when you add AI into the mix, it's like, what is going to happen? Me personally, I can't say what I think is going to happen, but anytime I've seen a piece of new software that's come out like this, that's equalized the playing field, it's helped things in certain ways, but it's hurt things in other ways. Like, we're already seeing jobs disappear because of AI, but we're also seeing some jobs start to be created because of AI as well. But 10 years from now, where is AI gonna go? I mean, it's probably gonna be way more advanced than what it is now. Now, what's it gonna do for people's self-esteem? That is a different question. I believe personally, the root of having good self-esteem is knowing what exactly it is that you want and working for it every single day. Like, straight up get lost trying to achieve your goals and what you want to do, and you will feel a whole much better person. Especially if you're able to like go out and do cool things, you will be so much of a better person. Now, my experiences with AI so far, I love it. I use it every single day to, do a lot of tasks in my businesses that I would have normally have had to hire someone, but now I can just outsource it to AI. And now, as far as my social media experience, I'm a little curious to see how it goes, because, when social media first came out when I was younger, I would say it amplified my self-esteem at first because, I didn't really, I probably wasn't the most coolest person at school at the time, And when MySpace first came out, it was a way for me to find a community of people who lived in other places that didn't necessarily live where I was from, and we could relate to each other. We could talk to each other. We had just a little bit more in common with each other than we probably did with our peers where we were living at the time. So from that standpoint, I think social media is great because it gives people who probably normally wouldn't have been able to find a tribe or a community of people to talk to, hang out, be around. Now you have that place. You can find that place on social media as opposed to like just going out in the real world where if you live in a low income area, you're probably surrounded by a certain type of mindset. If you live in a high income area, you're probably surrounded by a different type of mindset. So that's just something to be mindful of. And I definitely encourage any listeners, if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to listen below. I just like to thank everybody for tuning in. We talked about social media, the effects of it, and how, my opinion, how I feel like it hurts people or it helps people, just depending on how you use it and what type of experience that you're going on with it. And before I leave, I always like to leave, everyone with a question to think about moving forward. And today's question is, what wakes you up in the morning? I'm pretty bad. I get up in the morning and I check my phone, I check my messages, I check social media, but it's all around work. It's around my businesses. I'm checking my social media, I'm checking DMs, I'm checking emails, I'm doing all of that. But I'm waking up in the morning because I'm trying to push my business forward. Sometimes, me personally, I feel like I don't have the most confidence in the world. However, if you ask anyone that knows me, they'll probably say different. Not sure why, but I just think it's because I know what it is that I want and I'm chasing it. So therefore, I don't have to dwell and think about all the negatives that I'm dealing with right now. And there are some. There are definitely some negatives that I'm dealing with right now. But the positives, they just outweigh it. I focus on the positives. And like Coach Prime said, you are in control of your day. You should never have a bad day. Maybe a bad hour, maybe a bad couple hours. But eventually you're going to have to change that channel and make sure you have a great day. And thank you. Make sure you check out my website at meetjoshjones.com. Make sure you check me out on all social media sites at meetjoshjones. Just at meetjoshjones. And thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next time.